Hello, and welcome to this webinar in Caring.com's Digital Marketing Academy series. Today's session is focused on the home care agency client, with insights you can use for effectively building your home care business. I'm Denise, a marketing director here at Caring.com, and we have a lot of information to cover today, so let's go ahead and get started. Just a few housekeeping items first. This is a one-way webcast where only the presenters speak. You may ask questions, though, by typing and submitting them using the tool at the right side of your screen. We'll be sure to answer those at the end of our session, and we'll follow up with you afterward if we run out of time. No question will go unanswered, so please don't hesitate to ask questions. We're also going to share the presentation materials with you afterward. That's a common question we get, so I just want to let you know you will get the presentation materials after the session. Also, just a quick plug about Caring.com for those of you who are new or just getting to know us. We are the sponsor of this webinar. We have 3 million visitors using our site Senior Care Resources every month. These are families and older adults who are turning to us for caregiving information, referral, and support. They also come to us for reviews about senior care providers. In fact, we are the largest senior care review site with nearly 121,000 consumer reviews posted today, and we add thousands each month. We also have thousands of original articles across a wide range of elder care topics. And for family caregivers, we hosted dozens of online support groups where they can connect with others just like them. Caring.com is owned by Bankrate, and we're part of a powerful network of websites dedicated to supporting people in making complex financial decisions. We have two really great speakers today. Erik Madsen is Chief Operating Officer at Home Care Poults. He's been with Home Care Poults since August 2012, overseeing the day-to-day operations of the company and managing plans for their future growth and expansion. Previously, he spent 18 years at an international consumer products company, has managed teams of marketing and sales professionals around the world, and he enjoys organizing chaos. On a personal note, Erik and his wife are parents to 6 children, and he spends his free time in the Idaho outdoors, coaching youth sports, and most importantly, spending time with that lovely family of his. Stephen Kelly is a customer service manager here at Caring.com. He joined our organization in 2013, having previously worked at Google, Matrix Medical, and Charles Schwab. He has managed family advisors, customer service agents, client services staff, and quality assurances staff during his tenure here. He's a native of the United Kingdom, and he's lived in the United States for 27 years, but he refuses to give up his accent, as you will see soon. Here's what we're going to be covering today. Erik will start us off by sharing some interesting insights from his organization's ongoing interviews with thousands of clients of home care agencies across the country. He'll also include how you can best use these insights for your business specifically. Then, Stephen will share some of what we've learned in supporting family caregivers using our in-home care referral services, including some insights from our reviews program. We'll conclude with an opportunity to get your specific questions answered, and we have a few announcements to share as well. Before we get started, though, I want to take a quick poll, so bear with me while I get that launched. In a moment, you're going to be seeing these questions, you're going to be seeing your answer selections to this question on the screen. Okay, so now you see before you the poll. Take a moment, if you wouldn't mind, and answer the question, how do you currently ask for feedback from your clients and their family members about your home care services? You can choose more than one answer from the options available to you. All right, the poll is in progress and people are responding. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds. We still have votes coming in. It's fantastic. Thank you everyone that's adding your votes. All right, looks like we are just about done. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. Great. Okay, so let's see. Let's share the results. All right, so 71% are having your staff follow up to collect feedback. That's the highest. And then about half of you are working with a third-party organization currently to collect feedback. A little over a third are getting online reviews. And I'm really happy to know that everyone knows how they are collecting feedback. We didn't get a single answer to I don't know. So that's fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for taking that. Really appreciate you doing that. Okay, at this time, I'd like to turn the mic and controls over to Erik. Just bear with me while I take him off mute and give him the presenter power. Okay, Erik, you should be able at this time to share your slides. Are you able to do so?
The option to show my screen hasn't been turned on yet. Could you click that to turn that on?
Yes. Presenter has control. At this time, it says that you do have that option. How about now?
There we go. Perfect. Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Denise, I want to say thank you, and Stephen, thank you for allowing me this opportunity, and thank you to the folks that are joining us today. It's a real treat to be with the fine folks from caring.com today as we talk about some of this wonderful research that we've conducted as a company into the service trends for home care providers. And as we get ready to start today, let me cover just a couple of real quick things. For those of you who may not be familiar with Home Care Poults, we are the leading satisfaction management company in the home care industry. Over the last 8 years, our founder and CEO is a gentleman named Aaron Markham. Aaron at one time owned his own home care business in Salt Lake City, Utah, and over an 8-year period he grew that from a startup to one of the largest home care agencies in 7 states. And many of the things that he learned during this process is what he used to found Home Care Poults a little over 8 years ago. And so it's our privilege today. We work with nearly 1,600 home care providers across the nation to measure the satisfaction levels of their clients and caregivers. And what you're seeing there on the screen are some of our award logos that we facilitate. And I wish I could say we give these awards, but it's really the clients and caregivers who give these awards out to their home care provider based upon the excellent job that they do in providing quality of care and quality employment opportunities. You may also be a little familiar with Home Care Poults through our annual home care benchmarking study. It's now, the image on the screen is the 7th edition that was put out earlier this year, and we're in the process of starting the 8th edition, and very excited about that for this coming year. Again, it is the single largest resource of information on the industry. And you can find out more information about the benchmarking study at our website as well. But let's jump into a little bit about what we do as a company and how it relates to our topic at hand today. Our goal as Home Care Poults is to help you as home care providers to really gather the data, information you need in order to deliver the best possible client experience. And our belief is that as you develop a fantastic client experience, that you're also going to be able to yield higher profits for your business, and in the long run, you're going to have more satisfaction both in your personal and in your professional lives. And we see that each and every day. I often tell people that say, well, what do you do, Erik? And I say, we help keep the American dream alive and well. We help small businesses like yourselves to live that American dream by giving you information that you can use to make sound strategic decisions for your business. And so that's what we've been doing for the last 8 years, and absolutely love it. But I really love this quote that you're seeing on the screen, and it really kind of summarizes what we do as an organization. For those of you that have ever been to Disney World or to Disneyland, you'll appreciate this, that do what you do so well that they will want to see it again and bring their friends. And isn't that true? As you may have gone to Disneyland or Disney World or Disney Tokyo or Disney Hong Kong, um, or wherever the other Disney locations are at, but it's such a wonderful experience that you have. You feel so amazing while you're there that you want to come back and bring your friends. And isn't that what we want to help you with your home care business? Isn't that what we want to do, is to have your clients feel so wonderful about the services you're providing, whether it be your clients themselves or their family members or even their caregivers, that it's such a wonderful experience they're having with your organization that they want to tell their friends and bring them back to partake of, to use, to be involved with the services that you're providing. And that's what we do as a company. We help you measure and report that information so you can provide those wonderful experiences. Recently, a company by the name of InfoQuest out of Europe did some research, and this is worldwide research. But what they found is that on a Likert scale, and when I say Likert scale, it's a 5-point scale, with totally satisfied being the very top, totally dissatisfied being the very bottom, and satisfied being in the middle. And so you've got totally satisfied, somewhat satisfied, satisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, and finally totally dissatisfied. So it's a 5-point scale. They found that those that were at the very top, totally satisfied customers, they contribute 2.6 times more revenue than just the notch just lower, that somewhat satisfied customer. And when compared to the somewhat dissatisfied customer, so the very top versus 3 notches down, the second to the bottom, 14 times more revenue from those customers. And then finally, those who are totally satisfied, a 3 to 10 times higher repeat rate than just a somewhat satisfied customer. And so the importance of customer satisfaction cannot be overlooked when it comes to running a successful business. And let's translate that for just a moment into home care. Part of the monthly interviews that we conduct with home care clients and caregivers, we ask those clients, tell us, why did you choose your home care provider over another? And so let's say that you've got 100 clients. Well, the first time we interview those clients, we're going to ask them this question and gather that feedback for you. But here's a summary of those results over the last year. And it hasn't changed much from year to year. It's pretty consistent. That 34.3% say, I joined this home care company because it was recommended to me by a family member or a friend. 25%, it was the reputation of the company. You've got a good name out there in the community or in the industry. And the 22% were recommended by a professional referral source. There's a relationship, they have confidence in your home care business and said, hey, this is a good agency. Let's, I would recommend that you use them for your home care needs. And so if you look at those, and then there's the other consumer marketing and selected by case manager, but if we really look at that, 82% of the reasons why consumers choose a home care provider is because of their perception. It's how they perceive your company, whether in the eyes of family and friends, eyes of a referral source, or the reputation that's in the community about your business. This is a relationship-based business. And as people are looking at how to take care of their loved ones, they're just not going to turn the care over to some stranger. They want to have confidence that the person that they're entrusting to care for their loved one is the very best. And they want nothing but the very best. And so this idea of making sure that you have a good reputation, that you have a good perception in the industry and in your community is vitally important for you to be successful. In fact, we have some additional research from the most recent home care benchmarking study. And in this particular area, we ask home care owners, tell us your revenue generation sources. So was it your clients? Was it professional referral sources? Was it online marketing? Tell us your number one referral source. And those who said that clients were their number one revenue generator, in other words, their own clients were their best referral source, those individuals had their clients generated on average $11,417 in revenue for their business, as compared to all other revenue generation sources. The median lifetime value was only $10,143. So organizations, who have their clients as their number one referral source, again, reputation can count on a longer median lifetime value of their clients. Some additional research shows this. again, that same group who said that revenue was their number one, clients were the number one revenue generator. If you look at their median revenue, how much did they make last year? 1.9 million versus all others at 1.5 million. So not only are we seeing that a home care organization has the client per client value is greater, but also their overall revenue is significantly greater, almost $400,000 a year more by using their clients. Again, reputation of your home care business. Finally, we look at this statistic that says happy clients stay longer. If you're able to retain and to keep on service clients for 14 or more months, those home care agencies had a median revenue last year of $2.1 million, as opposed to those whose length of stay for their clients was between 1 and 13 months, then their median revenue was just $1.2 million. So again, if you're able to, once you obtain a client, you're able to build that relationship, you're able to provide them with a wonderful experience that they want to stay with your business, then you're going to be much more successful as a home care owner. And finally, we looked at what about those who are using our satisfaction management program, and those who were listening, gathering feedback, understanding what their clients were saying, had a revenue in 2015 that was almost $400,000 more than non-home care Poults users. So there's something to be said about how to, and the importance of listening and gathering feedback from your customers. And let me explain that just a little bit more. On the screen, you see a couple of images here. One is an image from a Broadway show, the Broadway show Les Miserables, back in New York City. The other is the same Les Miserables put on a local high school production. The question is, which of these shows would you rather attend? And you may say, well, I'd rather go to the high school show because my kids are involved or grandkids, and that's wonderful. But I think in reality, all of us would say they would rather see Les Mis at a Broadway production versus a high school production. And my question to you is why? What is the difference? We all know that it's the same storyline, may even have the same soundtrack playing in the background. But we know that the experience you have at the Broadway show is significantly better than the experience you'll have at a high school musical. And oftentimes in our industry, we compare this, we call this the front stage versus backstage. In other words, what kind of a front stage experience are your customers having with your organization? And what are you doing on the backstage, behind the scenes, to make that such a wonderful front stage experience? And so as you hear us refer to the terminology of the client experience, you got to think in terms of front stage versus backstage. What are my clients experiencing, and what are we doing as an organization behind the scenes to make that experience such a marvelous opportunity for them? Well, let me tell you, there are three things that we've identified, three key areas that we believe are part of the client experience. There's a lot of areas, but three general areas. And those are the areas that we measure. And for those of you that may be using your own staff to conduct feedback interviews with your clients, phenomenal. Or if you're using online tools, or if you don't have, 12% of you said that you didn't have a program yet. Well, here's some things you want to consider as you're looking at setting up this client experience program. We would suggest you measure about caregivers. What is your client's perception of their caregivers? What kind of a work ethic do your caregivers have in the eyes of the consumer? The ability. Do they have the knowledge and skills that they need? Are they compassionate? Are they professional? And so from a caregiver perspective, the next important area has to do with the office staff. How does your client or their family members perceive your office staff? And then the final area has to do with outcomes. Are you providing the services that they expect? When you first met with them and did that in-home care assessment, what expectations were promised, and are you living up to those expectations? How likely is your client to recommend your home care business to their friends or family members? And then finally, what type of an impact are you having on their daily life? In other words, because of the services you're providing in their home, are they having a better life because of you and your organization? And so I ask you to consider those areas. How do they perceive my caregivers? How do they perceive our office staff? And how do they perceive the overall service, the outcomes that we're providing? Now, let me make note of something very important here. The chart that you see on the screen is actually one of the graphs from our satisfaction management reporting package. And the green line would represent your scores in the most recent month. The blue line represent your scores over the last 12 months, so you can see are you doing better or getting worse than the 12-month average. But I want you to focus on that black line for just a moment. That black line is the industry average. So of the nearly 1,600 home care providers that we work with, here are the average scores for each of the questions that we ask. And as you can see, the lowest scores have to do with office staff. It has to do with communication from provider and confidence in the office staff. Clients generally love their caregivers. They generally like the outcomes that they have. They feel like they're getting the services that were promised. They generally like to recommend you and generally feel like you're making an impact in their daily life. But the lowest scores tend to be with the office staff, that communication and confidence in the office staff. So keep that in mind as you're looking at your client experience and what you're doing to provide a great client experience for your clients. Now, the other important thing that you need to consider is one thing to gather feedback. It's another thing to take action on the feedback, and that's so important. You can gather all of the data, but if you do nothing with it, it serves you no benefit. And so we strongly suggest both the listen and take action approach. What I'm going to share with you in just the next couple of minutes is an example of an interview that we recently conducted. And in this particular interview with a client, we asked them, how likely are you to recommend the home care provider on a scale of 1 to 10? And the score that was given was a 7. And they said, at one time I recommended them, but I haven't been happy recently with the office. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, there's something that you need to do here. This perception that we talked about earlier of the client is not good. We need to do something to address that. And as we dig further, we find out why. What has happened? Well, they gave the question of effectiveness and frequency of communication. It was a score of 4. They said, I haven't heard from the office in a while, but our caregiver keeps us informed. Ding, 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 ding. Again, big red flag. Caregiver keeps them informed, but why isn't the office reaching out to check in once in a while with this client? As we keep peeling that onion back and digging a little further, confidence level in the office staff. A couple weeks ago, the supervisor stopped in for a visit, took the care plan book, but we haven't seen it since. Again, they're lacking that confidence in the office staff. Knowledge and ability of caregivers. Our current caregiver is doing a great job and has great skills, but the substitute last week was clueless. Again, whoever their client, their caregiver is, they love them, but there was an issue that happened last week. And then finally, coordination of the schedule. And here's where I want you to pay attention. The caregiver does all of our scheduling for us, and that works okay, except there's been some miscommunication on who was covering for her like last week. Now, if you think about this, you've got a somewhat satisfied client, a 7 out of 10 on recommend provider. They love their caregiver, but it's a concern they have with the office staff. And so this person's walking away saying, oh, I don't know if I can recommend them. If someone were to ask me, I don't know that I could give them a real positive review right now. And I will tell you, it is so important that we maintain our reputation. And so by listening and then taking action, we can resolve these concerns. And that takes us to the next thing. We challenge you as you look at each of your clients to identify your client types. We break them into 4 categories. We call them your right fit clients, your upsell, your cross-sell clients, your hidden liability clients, and then finally your poor fit clients. And let me explain what I mean by that. Right fit clients, these are your net promoters. These are the people that are giving you scores of 9s or 10s. We call these promoters. They're your walking salespeople. These are the people that we want going out online and giving you positive reviews about your business. They're also very profitable for your organization. You then have your upsell or cross-sell clients. These are ones who their net promoter scores are somewhere between 7 to 10. They would be considered a passive, possibly a promoter. They're just not very profitable, and you need to earn some more money from them, maybe increasing the hours that you're providing in their case. Finally, you have your hidden liability clients. These are the real dangerous ones because they're profitable on paper. But they take a lot of time yet they're walking around the community speaking very poorly of you, or they're posting poor reviews online about your home care business, maybe the experiences they've had. And the final type of client are detractors. They're not very profitable. They're very time consuming. These are really the kinds of clients that you probably need to invite to go to the competition next door. You would probably be better off saying, you know what, we're just not able to meet your needs at this time. Let me give you the names and phone numbers of a couple of providers that maybe could suit you better. And this is difficult. This is a difficult discussion to have about your clients, but one that's so valuable as you understand what your client's perception of your services are, and then you compare that with how profitable they are to make sure that you are working with the right types of clients. And so here's what we suggest. After you've gathered all this information, you know where your clients stand, spend the majority of your time with those promoters. Make sure that you're providing them with that wonderful client experience, and that was going to turn into some very, very valuable referrals to your business. Again, these are the people that if they really like the services you're providing and you're able to continue to give them a great backstage experience, they're going to go online and post reviews. They're going to go to the senior community center. They're going to be talking how wonderful they love your home care business. And again, 82% of the reasons why clients chose their home care provider was because of perception. And these are the people you want out there talking positively about your business, while at the same time identifying those who are struggling, making sure that you can rehabilitate them and take them from where they are today into becoming a promoter as well. I want to end with this this quote, and I'm not sure who said this quote, but I absolutely love it and think it is so applicable to our business. But clients who appear on your door on personal recommendation will already have a certain level of trust in you inherited from your existing customer. And think about that. If you had your army of clients that were your walking salespeople, and they're out telling their friends and family members about the great job that you do, they're out talking to people in the community, they're posting positive reviews on caring.com about your business, that is so vitally important. When you go to get a new client, if they've had experience, and that's what I love so much about caring.com is in a very important way, the online testimonials and feedback allows people who are searching for quality care to check you out vicariously, if you will. They may not have a family member that's used your services before, but by looking at the reviews and the ratings, they can see, hey, how is this company? Do they really provide the services that they say they do? And as we know, that is so important in today's day and age, as the generation that's seeking for care for their loved ones is doing more and more research online. They need to see, not only through caring, through word of mouth on the street, that you truly are one of the best home care agencies that exist in your community. So anyway, just a little bit of research on what we do and some of the things that we have found at Home Care Poults. Again, it's identifying the client experience for each and every one of your clients and making sure that it is so very valuable so that your organization can utilize this to grow, to market, to promote your home care business going forward. So anyway, appreciate that. And Denise, I think if they have questions, go ahead and have them put those in the question panel and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation here. But I'm going to go ahead and turn some time back over to you and to Stephen.
Thank you so much, Erik. That was really valuable information, and we will definitely be taking everyone's questions at the end. But if you have them immediately and you want to get them off your chest, you can send them in the module on the right. Now we'd like to have Stephen Kelly share a few insights that will complement what you just heard from Erik. All right.
Erik, thank you very much for sharing that very informative information, and I'd like to thank everybody here on this cast for joining us today. I know you've got busy schedules, so I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. One thing I want to say before I go into this slide is to say there's a misnomer that seniors do not go online and search. Now, that may be true for people in some rural areas, depending on where they're located, could be based on their demographic, could be based on low income. That may be true, but it's not. That's true for everybody. It wouldn't just be for seniors. However, when you look at the research that we do, here's what we find out. Americans aged 65 plus with an income over $75,000 a year, 90% of them go online, and the majority use the internet daily. There are folks that use yours and our services constantly. Caring.com's annual caregiving journey survey tells us this. We talk to family caregivers and older adults who are seeking senior care information online all the time. We ask them what resources they're using to get help. Where are they finding out the costs? Where are they doing their research? We recently completed a separate webinar on this, but here are the key points I want to go over. So for Americans seeking senior care info online, the #1 coping resource for a family caregiver living with a care recipient is paid assistance from a professional caregiver, and that covers 33%. Of those with elder living independently, 59% have paid caregiving help, 45% using a home care agency like yourself. And for those elders who are caring for themselves, 9% pay for in-home care, and yet 38% have reported they're on their own, they have no assistance yet. So either paying non-professionals or people tend to need the services and have not found help there. So the internet is a great opportunity for you and your agency to find these resources. It's a significant opportunity to grow. So here's what speaking to family advisors, Denise had mentioned earlier on. I used to train family advisors. I had family advisors that talk to me, and I've got part of the QA team, so I will listen to calls all the time. Here at Caring.com, we've close to 100 family advisors across the country, talking to family caregivers all day long, 7 days a week. And just to let you know, statistically, who calls us? 74% of the adult daughter who's aged between 50 and 70, who's looking for a parent aged 80 plus, who's dealing with memory loss. Or as I like to call it, my sister back in England, because that's exactly what she's dealing with my mother. And I'm glad to say I've been a big resource for her, although it's not quite the same in England as it is here in the US. 15% of the people that call are older adults caring for themselves. And this is some of the stuff that we hear day in, day out in our calls. The family caregiver doesn't know what their options are. They really are shooting in the dark. They don't know the difference between taking care of someone who's had knee surgery and someone that just needs to be reminded to take a bath or to shower. Or have they taken the medication that's in the container that the daughter has left out to take Monday through Friday? They don't know what to do. They don't know what their options are. They call at various times of the day. They can call after work. They can call during the lunch break. They're basically squeezing in their initial research with all the other tasks they have to do today. Okay, and even the callers who contact us for senior living are asking us to call agencies like yourself, either for full-time help or even to enhance the care that they're already getting in the assisted living center where they reside. Online reviews and narrow choices are key. When a family caregiver goes online to find a home care agency for an aging parent or a loved one, reviews from other consumers like them help to narrow the local agency option. I believe 35% you said in the original poll that that's what you use. That's fantastic. We'd like to see that number go up. They like to hear what other people that are like themselves have found out about the services. Our family advisors here encourage family caregivers to read the reviews. They will ask us, what do you know about them? What can you see about them? And we'll tell them the reviews that we've seen online too. And that can make a big decision if we can tell them they've had 15 reviews compared to 1. The next thing we hear is when we tell them they've got 15 reviews and here's the highlights, what's their telephone number? How do I get hold of them? We're finding that this type of word of mouth is making a significant difference in a positive way in their search. Here's another example. We pulled data from a home care chain that has more than 100 listings on our site. We looked at how many reviews they had per listing. And what we found was their listings with 15 or more reviews got 1.5 times more leads than the listings that only had 1 or 2. And as I mentioned earlier on, we know from our caregiving journey research that family caregivers and older adults trust senior care websites for these reviews over all others. I'm talking about Facebook, Yelp, and Google. They trust the reviews they read when they're looking at what they want. This data is now available on our industry blog, and we can send it out to you after this session if you'd like to get further information on these statistics. Once again, it's like-minded people giving reviews that they believe and trust more than just what they read on a social media website. Your response to reviews is key too. How well you manage your online reputation also manages to the home care prospect. So you need to be vigilant and watch for new reviews on your online system. As it says here, 32% say review response, let me know the business cares and is listening. 30% don't say, I don't think I've ever seen a business respond to my review. So when you're new to reviews, take advantage of these platforms to enable to respond. Prospective customers want to see the review. I respond to people all day long myself. Sometimes it's to say thank you for giving us a chance to improve. Sometimes it's thanks for the kudos. But they like the response. And they will honestly say, I didn't think someone was listening. But we are. I do this all day long, and I'm old school. You reply, even if it's just to say I'm sorry, and offer it for further discussion offline. 30% weren't sure if they'd ever seen a business response, so that's clearly a missed opportunity given the prior groups of folks to say this matters. And some said it's going to matter how you respond, and only a small percentage said their option could not be swayed by your response. Follow-up does make a difference. Urgency, speed to lead impacts conversion. It's how quickly you respond to them is key, and you have to respond back rapidly. Many responses for they never call me back, honor the communication preferences. If they say they want a phone call, pick it up. If they send you an email, pick it up. Even if they send you an email and it's very important information they've given to you, a phone call can make the difference. They shop around, so it's important to stand out. It's be memorable by your agency name or brand. There's a lot of competition out there. You want something that they say, look at this. Look at what people have said about it. Dear Caring, what can you tell me about these people? Here's what we learned. Speed to lead is important, but don't bombard them. Here's the one thing we do find out. You have to respect how we do it. They, as I mentioned earlier, they may have taken just 15 to 20 minutes to start this thing off, but finding the time of when they're going to sit down is important. We do a lot of stuff where we suggest you call immediately. That way they know that you're on their radar. Then follow up with an email that provides helpful information, and then follow up again in a couple of days. 10 days is normally good follow-up. That's what we recommend. And this is because that's kind of how long it takes the family to get their ducks in order. It tells them from convincing mum to accept care, to securing funds to pay for care, to talking to the brothers and sisters and saying this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to take care, and this is the right option for mum and dad. And we found that 10 days is normally that window. We also find that sometimes care can increase during that window too. So you will need to nurture and build trust before you see positive results. So in summary, I just want to say family caregivers are looking online for your help. They need to be educated on the services. They don't know what to expect, so they need education. They rely heavily on people like them giving reviews and suggestions. It's not going to be a one-and-done phone call. They're not sitting by the phone waiting for you to ring. We'd love to think they were, but the reality is not. And keep in contact with them for whatever the reason. Communication is key.
Thanks so much, Stephen. I also want to go ahead and summarize. I mean, we've covered a lot of information, and I want to go ahead and summarize overall some key takeaways for you to take back to your staff at your agency from both presentations today. We've heard from both of our speakers how critical your reputation is to the success of your business. I hope you heard that and are taking action to manage your online reputation as well as word of mouth reputation offline. A lot of you said you are soliciting feedback regularly. That's great. That's one of the key takeaways. But you also, as Erik pointed out, you have to take that feedback and put it into action to improve your agency services. And one of the areas that he most emphasized was the office as an area for improvement. So timely, professional communications and follow-through make a significant difference. That's a key takeaway for your home care agency from this presentation today. You also need to respond to consumer needs and preferences. Both speakers spoke about the need to turn that feedback into happy clients and advocates who become a part of your marketing element at your organization. So these are the key takeaways from today's session. We're going to go ahead and pause for questions. We have received a couple questions during the session. I also want to go ahead and unmute Erik so he can join the conversation as well. So we have a few questions. I'm going to go ahead and ask the first one of Erik. Erik, are the client and caregiver interviews you perform anonymous, or do you show their names?
That's a great question, Denise. We actually, on the client side of things, we actually allow the clients to include their names. And at the conclusion of the interview, we will ask the question, are you okay if we include your name in this feedback? Again, these are live telephone interviews that we conduct. They last about 9.5 to 10 minutes in length as we talk to your customers. And we ask at the end of that conversation we've had with them if they're okay if we include their name. About 93.5% of the clients say, yeah, of course, include our name. We'd love to. And so a very high percentage we show their name. They do have the option to remain anonymous, although it is a small percentage that do so. But what we found is that as a home care owner, if you really are in touch with your clients, you're going to know pretty well who those clients are based upon maybe some clues they would have given in the feedback. And so from the client's option, it is optional to remain anonymous, but most people include their name. On the caregiver side of things, the caregiver reviews are all anonymous, and we do that for the protection of the employee-employee relationship. What we don't want to have happen is retribution towards a caregiver for giving feedback on how an agency can perform, and so those caregiver interviews are anonymous. Yeah, it's been working great for the last 8 years. So, good question.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. We also got a question for Stephen. This is from a home care agency that's currently partnered with Caring.com to receive screen leads from us. And the feedback in question they had was they're getting the referrals. However, oftentimes they're having trouble getting a return phone call or reply to an email, and they'd like to know, how do we engage or connect these potential customers to solicit a return call or email?
That's a very good question, and it's something that we deal with frequently ourselves. We've tried experimenting it from different ways. We've turned the emails not into, hey, we've missed you, please give us a phone call, we're trying to hear from you. We've sent emails that say, when last we heard from you, you told us this was what you were looking for. These were the needs that you have for your mom or your dad or whoever the loved one may be. And we'd list out what they told us. And we'd say, how are you coping now? Have you found the solution? What are you doing in the interim? And basically what we found from that is they're like, I'm coping, I'm struggling, I'm doing it, you're right, I need to contact you. So we've made it more personal as opposed to a generic, hey, can you give us a call, we'd love to talk. And we find that gives us more results.
Great.
That was a great question, thank you.
And then there's actually a question here for me, and that is, I have an agency website. Do I get people to post their experience of my services there? I've been managing Caring.com's reviews program for 6 years now, and I can tell you that consumers do go to home care agency sites to see testimonials and feedback there, but the #1 source that they trust is senior care websites that they know have an integrity program that aren't filtering out the bad feedback. So they want to see both positive and negative feedback. And they want to see it from a third party that they trust isn't just trying to sell them something. So you can put reviews on your site and feedback on your site, but I suggest you also make third-party websites part of your online reputation strategy, because that is where people are going. And now if you Google your agency name, Google is now showing reviews on other websites. So it'll have a little knowledge panel on the right, and we're going to have a blog post on this soon, but it'll say like caring.com, 10 reviews, Facebook, X number of reviews. It has a way of seeing the reviews you have on websites across the web, and consumers are going to see that when they go to the search engine. So yes, you can put reviews on your website, but you shouldn't 100% focus there. You should also focus on third-party websites as well for hosting of reviews. Okay, we got a couple of, oh great, here's a question for Erik. Who determines the sample size that you use when surveying clients? Do you have any input on the sample size that you can share?
That's a great question, Denise. And you know what? We really do leave that up to the agency owner themselves. They could say, we'd like you to survey 2 of our clients a month. We'd like you to survey 20 clients a month. And we're willing to work whatever we need to do to meet their needs. The awards that I talked about earlier on are Best of Home Care Provider of Choice, Employer of Choice, and Leader in Excellence awards. Those are all based upon a 10% monthly sampling size. And the reason we've had to set that criteria is so that we have an apples-to-apples comparison. So we can, as we sample 10% of an agency that has maybe 200 clients and 10% of an agency that has 50 clients, we're able to compare their scores accurately. And so we've chosen a 10% sample size, which works really, really well. If you had 50 clients, for example, that would be 5 clients that we would speak to. And once we interviewed them, then we wait for a minimum of 6 months before we would attempt to contact them again. And it usually works out to be about 9 to 11 months. But you've got a continual stream of input and feedback every month on your client experience. And from that, as an owner, you can make decisions on the backstage. What do you need to be doing on the backstage of your business in order to make it such a great front stage experience? So we find that at that 10% sample size, given the clients that come and go, the caregivers that come and go throughout an annual period, that gives you the best amount of feedback for you to take action in your business. So we suggest a 10% sample size, but if they were to work with our business, they could set whatever number they want.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we have time for one more question, and everyone that asked a question, do not worry, we will get to all of these questions afterward if we didn't answer during. And some of you asked questions that I'm going to answer in the announcement section, so hang tight for that. But we had a question about the leads, reviews, impact on leads. And I can answer that. The case study that we showed was for a home care chain across the nation that had over 100 listings on our website. And we looked at number of reviews and quantity of leads and the impact of those reviews and whether or not that increased leads, and it did. And for that particular client, and the mix of positive to negative, by the way, was about 80-20 on that particular client's listings, and that can matter in those numbers. That type of analysis should be done by you as well, or you can work with a third-party organization like us or Home Care Pulse to understand the impact of feedback on revenue. But in that particular case, we looked at their leads over a couple-year period. So the question was, how was that lead? What was the time frame for those leads? So the answer to that question was, for that particular case study, we looked at it for a couple years. but you could do it for a year, you could do it all time. We've sliced and diced this numerous ways for many clients, and we continually see that reviews impact inquiries. So with that, I'm going to move on to some of the announcements that are related to that. And thank you everyone who took time to ask questions. And again, we will follow up with those of you who we didn't get to your question. But speaking of the impact of reviews on leads, we recognize the importance of online word of mouth in helping family caregivers and older adults find the right agency for their needs. So what we found was organizing our home care directory by location wasn't working that well for helping consumers find the best agency for their needs. So we have now reordered our search results on our site by partner listings with the most reviews and best ratings. Those are going to rank the highest now. That's been in place for about a month now. It's working out fabulously. So this is another reason that you need to focus on reviews on third-party sites, because when they come to us asking us to refer them to a home care agency, they're going to be searching and they're going to be seeing those listings that have the most reviews and the most positive reviews. The other thing is very exciting. We're so happy. This month we entered into a consumer feedback agreement with Home Care Poults. Under this agreement, qualified listings will get Home Care Pulse reviews, ratings, and the Best of Home Care award badges showcased on their Caring.com listings. We're going to have more details on this after this webinar, and you can get in touch with Home Care Pulse or your Caring.com account manager in the meantime to learn more. Otherwise, look to your inbox, look online in the industry press. We're going to have an announcement about this very soon. But I just wanted you, for attending this webinar, you got the news first. All right, so before we say goodbye, I just wanted to let you know about the next session in our Digital Marketing Academy. This is backed by popular demand. We're hosting a town hall discussion with those of our clients. We're going to have some of our family advisors and our referral business leaders participating. We're going to take your questions and we're going to dive deep into the process of how we refer senior care searchers to you. Look for an invite in your email soon. You can go ahead and send us questions too, and we'll tailor our presentation to your questions. We also invite you to our industry blog that will have information on this as well. It's partners.caring.com. Before we go, I just want to thank everyone, thank our speakers. Thank you, Erik, so much. I just wanted to give you one final chance to say goodbye, Erik, if you wanted to.
Denise, thank you, and Stephen, thank you to you. We're excited about our partnership, excited about the opportunity. We know the impact that consumer reviews have on purchasing decisions, and we're excited as we take our customers' reviews and we're able to push those over to Caring.com so that they can not only increase the number of reviews that consumers are seeing and being ranked higher on your site, but also for those who are award-winning providers. As I mentioned, these are not awards that Home Care Pulse provides. These are awards that their clients and their caregivers have provided for the outstanding service they give. We're excited to be able to list those on Caring.com and help them stand out more from the competition. And we know that that's going to ultimately help them grow their home care business. So we're excited about it and look forward to not only working with Caring.com, but with each and every one of you for many years to come. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Erik, and thank you, everyone. We hope you found this information helpful, and we'd love to hear your feedback. In fact, when we end this session, you're going to be prompted to take a quick survey. We hope you will give us feedback, give us your honest feedback about how we did. There will also be a link, in case you missed it on your computer if you're running off to another meeting. There will be a link in the follow-up email about an hour after this session. Then tomorrow morning, we will send you the slides and recording and some additional supportive information from this session that you can share with your team. So look for those announcements. If for somehow they land in your spam folder or you're anxious and you have an immediate question, you can email me, Denise@Caring.com. I can help get you connected to the right staff here, or I can answer your question directly. So with that, I thank you very much, and I say goodbye for now.